about home. They're married to real estate.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be back in the podcast studio. Mary and I have taken the summer off, and Mary's under the weather, so she's not here today. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We've got Ellen Rainville, the director of the Fletcher Library here in Westford, and Marianne Seraphin, the president of the Friends of the Fletcher Library in Westford, also here in the studio today, back from a previous episode. We had you guys here. So let's talk what's going on. Let's talk, you guys moved to a temporary location. How'd that go?
So we closed on March 31st, and in 3 weeks we moved all of the library operations and collections and holdings to 515 Groton Road. We occupy 3 suites on the second floor where we're accessible by elevator, and then we have 4 stack areas in the basement where the bulk of all of our collections are. We reopened on April 22nd after Patriots Day, and we've settled in, and we're really thrilled that people are finding us and coming to visit. The browsing collections are still available, and we've provided a whole new collection called Hot Titles so that people can find bestsellers right away. We have runners for every shift that we're open who will go down into the stack areas because they're closed stacks and retrieve anything that you might want. We still have daily interlibrary loan delivery and can get you anything in the catalog or in the Commonwealth catalog, which comprises the holdings of the entire Commonwealth. So we're really thrilled to have such a nice area. There's a book drop there to drop your books off. And of course, I'll let Marianne talk about the Friends, have their own Friends of the Library book donation drop for book sales. And that's at First Parish Church United next to the library, which is under construction.
Right. So before we get into that, Marianne, you make it sound so easy, like, oh, and then we just moved and we just opened, and obviously it's a huge undertaking, and
it
from
was a
finding
huge
the space,
undertaking.
right?
I was yes, we had a request for proposals because we had put out under procurement specifications for what we needed in a site. I must have created a dozen different spreadsheets. We labeled, color-coded, created maps for every single piece of furniture that we owned, where it was going to be moved, maps that were color-coded by what suite it would go to, everywhere that we would have the collections shelved in the bottom. So I was a little cranky during the month of April, but I just have to say, the move got accomplished on time. We got open. The staff have been incredibly flexible, fluid. Our site does not have meeting rooms, and so we have to thank some sister libraries in the area for hosting groups that might have met in our meeting rooms. We definitely have to thank the recreation department, which is allowing us to have children's programs on the 3rd floor of Rodenbush, and is also sharing their NAB school site over the summer. They host kids clubs there, and we've been having summer reading program events there as well. So we just can't say enough for help from the IT department, the facilities department, recreation, the school department. It has truly been an effort, and we could not have done it. The town manager's department, we just couldn't have done it without all of the help and willingness on behalf of the library.
That's fantastic.
I mean, imagine how stressful it is to just move your household. This is moving a 22,000 square foot building in various locations with a full staff. And Ellen says she was cranky, but I never saw it. I mean, she was very gracious throughout. Very impressive, the whole project.
It rivals a military operation. It's from the sounds of it.
It really was, it really was. And I just have to say, I think, IT came through for us, and, the security systems that we needed. And I think maybe I was without my computer for half a day. The phones came up, and of course, unexpected things happened and everyone just sprang into a solution mode. So we're just so grateful for all the help we got.
Yeah, help and support. I mean, that says a lot about the town of Westford for
It
sure.
does.
And how valuable the library is.
Well, I do remind my staff, we've been given a $32.5 million vote of confidence, and we have no complaints at all. No matter what happens, it's been, a wonderful vote in favor of a future library that is going to serve the town and be flexible enough to respond to the town's needs for decades to come. And, we're really thrilled about that. So far, all of the costs so far have been paid for by the first 3 disbursements of our mass construction, public library construction grant. So we expect 2 more and 1 more escalation payment. We have future funding coming from Mass Save rebates once the building is open. It will be all electric. It will have 1 geothermal well. Right now, the stormwater retention tanks are going in, and demolition is occurring so that the new 3 levels will tie into the current 1988 additions and the historic library. So we, of course, also have the foundation doing fundraising. So we truly hope that when all is said and done, we will be relieving taxpayers of about $10 million of that cost. And because it's state grant money and utility rebate money, that is safe funding. And the town treasurer, who just retired, managed to get an incredible bond rating of like 3.89% for the long-term bond. So we have to say we're thrilled with our owner's project manager, with the representative on site who just came to us from the newly opened Sharon Public Library. They just built a new library, so now he's overseeing another library. And the contractor and construction firm got very high ratings. So we're going strong, and the spreadsheets are very impressive. 550 days out, which is like the day before
Wow.
Thanksgiving of 2026. That is the estimated completion date. But we do hope either December of 26 or January of 27 we'll be moving back into the new building. And
Wow.
that feels closer all the time.
It does.
And that's incredibly impressive when you consider just how complicated this project is.
Yes.
It's not just a matter of slapping on another 12,000 square feet. Every part of that building is being touched and upgraded and renovated. And we kind of, after the last Road and Bush Community Market, we kind of snuck behind the church and went to the back of the library just to look through the fence. And I really, for the first time, got a sense of just how much larger that building's going to be, because we can say it's 22,000 square feet, moving to 35,000 square feet, but the whole back of the building is gone, part of the roof is gone, and you look at it and you realize that it's going out to the parking lot. We're not losing any parking. Going out to the parking lot, up 3 stories, it's massive. And just the complexity of the project, to be able to say they're going to be done at the end of 2026 or early 2027, it blows my mind, because that's not, I'm not in the business, so I don't know what it takes, but having sat in on a lot of these meetings and just hearing people talk, it's so impressive, and the scale is so much larger than I think people understand.
Oh yeah, I think just from sitting here with you 2 ladies right now, I'm in awe. My mouth is hanging open. There's a lot.
Yeah. Westford is demographically a young town. As we forecast out the demographics over 20 years, which we had to do in our grant application, a huge percentage of Westford population is under age 19 for quite a while going forward. So as you come in the rear of the new design off the parking lot, the children's room immediately on the right is triple the size of the one we've had in the past. The meeting room is immediately on your left. All of the adult collections, a special young adult room, which is triple the size. Well, we never really had a designated room. We had an area. That's all on the second level. And then on the third level, we continue to have the historic Mary Atwood Hall and 2 more conference rooms and the old covering, plywood covering that was over the original skylight from 1896 was removed, and there's beautiful woodwork, and that's a historic feature we'll be able to save and restore. And not concrete, granite, dressed blocks from the foundation are being saved to put in the landscaping. So there's going to be beautiful grade level landscaping, a children's patio off the children's room, and the flow of the building is just going to allow for a great deal of future flexibility as collections. And I think people see this, in my tenure at the library, when I started at the library, the 33 and a third LP was like the hot new technology, and we streamed on through tapes and VHS and DVDs and CDs, books on tape, playaways, all of these. And, we all know the world is, just headed towards streaming and subscription services. But there still really is, especially for children, and it's been interesting to us how much teens in Westford still do prefer a physical book. But, the book is well honored. It's a long-term technology, going back to the printing press and further. And, it's going to stay with us, but collections and usage is going to continue to change because libraries are organic.
Yeah.
And that kind of speaks to the fact that, they're really, unless at some point the library decides to add a 4th story, which I don't see that happening.
No, the bylaws wouldn't allow it.
There is nowhere else to go with
Right.
this. But I think the thinking is that we don't need, this is it. We don't need to be any larger because the collections are changing to downloadable and streaming and so on. And to Ellen's point, there's still, that need for the friends and the foundation say books are just the beginning. The library is so much more than that. And if, COVID has taught us anything, is that we actually do want to be together. We do want to collaborate. We do want to be in the same space. This new building allows for so much more of that. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting. And just from what you've described, it seems like it was so thoughtful on how to serve the community. And so now let's talk about how the community can help the library. So Marianne, talk to us about the fundraising.
Well, let me first say that I am not a professional fundraiser. And my partner in crime, Mary Cacciatore, and I head up the foundation. And the foundation was established in 2017 for this express purpose, to raise large sums of money for the project. The Friends have been around since 1972, just to raise money in a day-to-day, whatever isn't covered by the municipal budget. Things like, some of the programming, books, museum passes, and the like. The foundation comes in and raises the large sums of money that offset the cost of the overall project. We launched the 1,000 Homes campaign, which is modeled after what Hopkinton did, asking 1,000 homes to donate $1,000. If we get 1,000 homes, that's $1 million. We're not there yet. I honestly don't know off the top of my head. And we started by saying people could spread that over 3 years. Now we're saying 2 years because we're that much closer, that's exciting. But there's still certainly an opportunity to be involved in the 1,000 homes. We are also trying to reach out to every business in town to ask them too, because this is the library. We like to call it the crown jewel of Westford Common. It becomes even more so with this addition and renovation. But also, this is, I think, having been a library kid my whole life, this is an incredibly vital community resource. There is nowhere else you can go with no expectation of spending money. You can just go to the library and just be. You can just be. You don't have to spend a dime. I want you to spend money because I want to offset the cost of the project. And I'd like to reach, 1.5 million so that I can kind of catch my breath and move on to some other things. But it's been great hearing other people's library kid stories, or people that have grown up with libraries, and to the people who haven't donated yet, but they're kind of on the fence, they're thinking about it. Think what the library has meant to you. maybe I mean, whenever in my life I've moved to a new place, the first thing have done is get a library card. Because with that library card, boy, the sky is the limit. I can do all kinds of things, and that's even more true today because there's so many other options out there for a library user. But I just, we are going out into the community and just asking people to, I know money's tight right now and kind of the future's a little uncertain, but if you are one of the residents who have, say, discretionary income, you have extra, and you want to give back and you want to make a tax deductible donation, we are all ears. We'd love to hear from people because it really is, and if you haven't been to the library recently, I encourage you to go in to the temporary location because you get a sense of what a Herculean task that was to move the library, but also the library is still functioning, much like it was doing in COVID, was still functioning. And, I would have lost my marbles if they weren't still functioning during COVID because I like a physical book, but just encourage people to, to reach out, to ask us questions, because I'll talk to anybody, anytime, all day long, because I love that place.
Yeah. So what kind of fundraising efforts are you doing currently?
Well, I mean, so say, for example, all summer we've had a tent at the Road and Bush Community Market, and that gives us an opportunity. It's not so much fundraising, but it's more of a community engagement.
Okay.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know what's going on.
That surprises me immensely.
It's,
wow.
It's surprising, but we don't have a local newspaper anymore. I mean, I know WestfordCAT is trying to relaunch something, and but people don't have as easy a time to get the information that they need. And here we are thinking like, oh, we're doing mailings, we're doing presentations, we're out in the community. There's still people. For example, I'll give you a story. We were at the community market. A gentleman came up and I had some brochures out, and he's like, oh, what's this? And I said, well, that's and he said, what? The library moved? And I said, and he has 3 young kids. I'm like, Dad, we told you. Like, the kids know because they've been the summer reading program.
Right.
They know, right?
Oh.
And he didn't know. He's like, I had no idea. So there's still people who, for whatever reason, don't understand what's happening. So, we hope to get out and, reach those people who.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just an assumed staple, in the community, right? So of course it's there. It's always been there. It'll always be there.
And you can see the building is there.
Yeah, right. So
I mean, even in the beginning, didn't we have people who like the fencing was going up, but people were still going to the front door like, why is this closed? I'm like, wait a minute. I know I told people, but I mean, it's just you have to hear something so many times sometimes for things to sink in and understand what's really happening.
What do they say? Something like 5,000 times to get your kids to listen. You have to say something. So
I don't know. Yeah,
I think the other initiative that Marianne and Mary have, handled so beautifully is the naming opportunities. I think $250,000 worth of physical areas in the library have been reserved and spoken for by families and foundations, and there's still more opportunity for that. So if you go to the Library Foundation's website, you'll see what has been spoken for and what's still available. And, that's a really lasting opportunity to express support for the library and to celebrate your family's use or your foundation's purpose. And so that has really been a wonderfully responsive. And we're looking at pavers and engraved pavers to go in the children's patio. We're just looking at that now. So that would be really accessible, and that's something that people could easily do. But that will be closer to the end of the project when landscaping is occurring.
And that brings me to when the building is done, we're going to have what we call the Wall for All. And that was modeled after what Belmont's doing. Because before we started any of this, Mary and I went to a lot of libraries that are either doing or have done what we're doing just to get best practices. Because, again, we're not professional fundraisers. We don't know what the heck we're doing. So why not go to the people who do know what they're doing?
Right. Smart.
And we spent a lot of time, too, with the development director over at Groton Hill Music School, because she was fabulous. But the Wall for All is something that Belmont has instituted, so whereby anybody who's given anything has their name on the wall, and it'll be probably in the, what did we say, near the circulation desk?
Yes.
And yes, there are giving levels. Westford Granite is the first, up to $1,000 or whatever it is, up to $999, Westford Granite. gold, silver, so on. And that was a long conversation about what those levels should be called. You'd be surprised. And but we feel that this is everybody's library. So whether you gave us $10 or $100,000, your name is going to be on the wall as a permanent reminder of your commitment to this community resource.
That's lovely.
I think it was really important because I don't want anyone to feel that this is out of range. And that reminds me, there was a young man who stopped at one of the community markets. He was in scrubs, probably like early 20s. He said, I just want to give you some money. And he gave me $20 and just left. And I'm like, wait, didn't get his name. I want his name on the wall too, because this is an important building to him. It's not a building. It's it's.
And Scrubs Guy would not be a good name to put on the wall.
I could tell you what color he was wearing, but I couldn't tell you who he was. And but it's that very real. This is everybody's building. It belongs to everybody. There is something for everybody here.
And I think how wonderful to go to your library and see your name that you helped, big or little, to create.
Right.
I was going to say, when we met with Catherine over at Groton Hill, one of the things that they have done, and we hope to do, is that before we immortalize everyone's name in metal or whatever the material will be, they printed up posters and put posters up on the wall where they're going to be like the big posters with everybody's name on it. Those will hang for a while in case we've forgotten somebody, in case like Scrubs Guy comes back, or we've misspelled, God forbid, we've misspelled somebody's name. There's an opportunity for us to change it before it becomes permanent.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
I think, it's so important that Marianne is talking about the non-commercial nature of the library. And I'm often reminding people, that when a child comes into the library, it's one of the only places where they can make their own selection, where they can actually be an agent of choice and take something away, because it's not a commercial transaction. So it's an adult action, because they're reviewing what's in front of them, they're assessing it, they're making a choice and a selection, they're taking it to the checkout desk, and it's one of the first times that they really have that adult experience of agency and self-choice, and it's transporting.
Yeah.
And it's it's what we hope to hook every child on is the joy of reading. Yes, mothers, your son may only read nonfiction for his entire life.
Captain Underpants.
Comics are okay. Graphic novels are okay. Whatever they're reading, encourage the reading, because that's the fundamental skill. And, over the course of the lifetime, they'll find out. God knows they'll be reading their screens day in and day out. That's the fundamental skill that we want them to both master and enjoy and flourish with, because it's absolutely critical, to a fulfilled life.
It's transformative.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yes.
Because there's that, and I forget I can't think of whoever had the quote, was, how powerful it is to get the right book to the right child at the right time. You never know what that's going to be like. I think back somebody saying, you should read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. That blew me away. I've read it multiple times over the course of my life, and it hits me differently every time I read it. And it's just words on a piece of paper, but it's transformative.
Yep.
It really is. And Ellen mentioned, the people who use the library the most. It's the 0 to 19-year-olds, and the Friends helps to fund exam weeks. We help pay for copious amounts of drinks, snacks, pizza during exam weeks, and the place is packed. I mean, we can't do that.
It's so wonderful, because how overscheduled the teen age group is. But, during teen week, exam week, we stay open additional hour. We're staying open until 10. In the beginning, we tried staying open until 11. The Friends fund like 10 to 12 pizzas a night, which are gone in like the first 20 minutes. And all of these snacks and all of these drinks, they're really studying. They're really, completely immersed in the scholastics of it and what they're trying to achieve. And, one year when we were doing surveys, prior to the edition, we surveyed them and said, please tell us what you're thinking. How do you feel? And one of our responders said, the library is the bomb.com. We just felt like we had, been so complimented. So we have a wonderful, young readership here in Westford, and and older too. And, we are able to get foreign language deposit in Chinese from the Boston Public Library. In the early 1900s, when it was white Russians who came to the textile mills, we were able to get Russian foreign language collections from Boston. So we will just, send the homebound librarian to your home if you need that, help you transition to Perkins School if ultimately you need those delivered to your home. So we're interested in supporting the life journey all the way from prenatal reading all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, never thought about that.
Yeah.
And of course, we
the
also
scope of
serve
that.
as a heating center, a cooling center.
Yes.
When we lose power, we know that we can go to the temporary location now, but we'd go to the library and recharge all our devices.
We
And
will have a generator, so that's very exciting. The energy use indicator for the library is going to be very low. That's why we will qualify for these rebates. So, we've managed to meet that window where we're going to have a very well insulated, tight electric building, and with a generator. And so all of that is a huge advance over, when I started at the library and we had a boiler with the red button. Well, it was a furnace, actually. If the furnace didn't come on, you hit the red button once. And if it still didn't come on, you called Healy. I mean, that was as high tech as we were at that point. So
Wow. So what can we tell our listeners and residents? What can they do? I mean, obviously give, but, I was just thinking about it while you were saying that about, whatever amount. I mean, why isn't every kid having a lemonade stand and giving their money to the library that they raise, or, something like that? I mean, there are efforts that could be done. How can we get more soldiers to help this
So come
endeavor?
to the book sale, which is
Yes.
going to be September 12th through 14th.
Yep.
At First Parish Church United. So, attending the book sale, it's next door to the library facility, but it's going to be a new location. In November, when the fall appeal is mailed out to every household in Westford, you can make a donation to the fall appeal. This year, that will go straight to the building project. You can go to the Friends website, which is attached to the foundation website. You can make a donation on the foundation website, and you can continue to, listen for when we start to have the paver drive again. That might be about a year away from now. Mm-hmm. But any way you give to the Friends as a member, buying used, incredibly beautiful, Westford readers take such good care of their books. Beautiful used books at the book sale. The membership drive is typically in February or March for the Friends membership, and it's an annual membership with multiple levels, a level that works for everyone. However you support the Friends and the foundation. And then we ask, when we do finally move back in, we'll probably be closed a whole month to get us back in, but come back to us. We know you're visiting our sister libraries. We know you're going to Littleton and Groton and Carlisle and Chelmsford, but come back and see us. We're going to have a wonderful ribbon cutting. We're going to tour donors before there's the grand opening, and we're really looking forward to that.
That's wonderful. So before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you guys want to touch on or that you haven't yet? Or
Just want to make sure that people come to see us at the Roden Bush Community Market. There's 2 more times to do that, next Tuesday and the following Tuesday. I know Tuesdays have been brutally hot for whatever reason this summer, so much so that the market was canceled this past week, this week. So come see us then. Come see us October 5th. I think it's a Sunday. That's Rodenbush, the fall market. You can come see us then. We will be at the Westford Academy Bazaar in December. We'll have a table then. Yeah, check out the website and just, reach out to us. We're just going to continue to go out into the community and talk about all things library and all things Friends and Foundation. Because I think there's still that people not only don't know the scope of the project, but don't know who the Friends are, or don't know how the Friends and the Foundation, the trustees and the library staff all work in concert. There's still that education that needs to be done. It's just a continual, and I know that's for all libraries across the state. We all have that same issue. It's just an education issue. It's just to remind people of, who's doing what, when, and why, and
Right.
Yeah.
So if anyone has a question and you feel like you can't find you can always go to one of the Westford Facebook pages or,
Well, yes, yeah,
and find
right.
you guys there.
Yes.
Or email
Ask
us
the question.
At, Westford Library. You can email us at Westford Library. And I think I would just want to say, because we're in a historic year again, I just want to say how wonderful, truly, from the inception of the 1797 subscription library, Westford has always been a town so supportive of the library. It's true, that first library, subscription library, ultimately was given to the town in 1859, and we had J.V. Fletcher as a benefactor. And, every time we've had an addition, we have had grant money, either federal or state. But Westford has been so supportive of its library, and it's a phenomenal town to work for in a library. So I just have to express that gratitude, because not every community is so supportive and so willing to step up.
Well, that's wonderful. Ellen, Marianne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.